Hey, welcome in, boys. Sorry for the vacation. Had to take care of some stuff in the South. That
How are those
being,
Mai Tais, Tony?
oh my God, they are great. Yeah, I was down in the schlong of the America, and also I was out on getting my schlongs snipped up. So, guess what? Having two kids, and that's all I'm having. Thank the Lord. How about you
Chris,
guys?
what was the
How
Chris?
you
What was
been?
the over under set at that?
Uh,
We think we said $10,000 on the vacation spent, and Tony to come back with only one testicle. But yeah, that was my
ooh,
over under.
damn. Yeah, you were right there. Vegas is really good at the line, man, and I came away on the over with both.
Over on both.
Yeah,
Nice.
always bet the over.
Nailed it.
But I think we got some interesting quick hits. Which one you boys want to take that this week? Don't all offer to take it at once.
I got it, guys. Certified beef of the week. The commish. Bell cow breeder. 140.68 points. Love to see him off to a hot start. Might be a little too late, but he's going to try to make that playoff push. Just kidding. Lowest scoring team. Gavin, hold my beer. Promising, start to the season, but he's selling again. We'll dive into the trade deadline later in this episode, but Gavin posts up a 92.4 points this week. Thank you for the easy win last week, Gavin. MVPs of week 8. Guys, we know who it is. It's Justin motherfucking Fields. Another 40.38 burger from the man. And of course, Dietrich wanted to add he didn't want me to gloat on Justin Fields all day, as I'm the resident Bears fans of this episode. Patrick Mahomes, 39.14 from Mr. Kevin Arway. He's going to be a tough competition the rest of the season. And then CeeDee Lamb, solid 38 from Commissioner Beaumont as well. Biggest bench performers, Gavin. Love the fact that he didn't start him this week. Tua, 29.4. He's actually in that MVP race this year, which is very cool to see. And then just some notable free agents that weren't on anybody's bench. Christian Watson, 32.7 points, having his coming out game with 3 touchdown passes. And then Nick Westbrook Hakine, 28.9 points on the Tennessee Titans. I believe Watson was picked up by Evan this week, and I think Westbrook Hakine is still out there. But, we had some fab going on, guys, as we always do. Just some notable stuff. Let me look at this real quick. Robbie Gould, solid $3. Love him. He's still has residency in Chicago during the off season.
You busted out your wallet and you grabbed yourself a little Van Jefferson at a $27 waiver cost, Chris. You plugging him in the lineup?
He has to be this week. Short on wide receivers with newly acquired Christian Kirk. On a bye week this week, and then Jerry Jeudy just tearing his ankle on the first play of last week, so had to go heavy. Also went heavy on Christian Watson. At least I thought it was at $21, hoping to actually snag both of them. But again, Evan snagged Christian Watson, which seems to be paying off so far this week for him, as he's already caught a touchdown in the first half against the Titans, as we are doing this podcast during the Thursday night football week. But Dietrich, I'm going to pass it over to you because you had a hell of a busy week this week with the trade deadline looming on Saturday. Why don't you get us kicked off here?
Guys, I don't even know if I can cover it all by myself. I'm going to need your help because this trade deadline week has been bananas. We got people that are 7-3 that are selling the teams. We had people that were 4-5 buying it, making their way into the playoffs. All kinds of shenanigans happen in the MFFL. I think the biggest buyer, Mr. Tim Banka, half chub himself. He's going out, and who's he picking up? Well, he's got Dalvin Cook now at the running back position. And who else did he grab? Christian McCaffrey. No, that was Kevin Arway. Tim, you could have had a chance, man. We tried to make it work, but unfortunately, went the other direction. But you did grab yourself a couple wide receivers that were on my team. wide receivers A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase coming back from that injury sooner than you think, Chris. He's off the crutches, and he's going to be back in the lineup very, very soon. And, he sent back some quality picks. I'm talking about tight end K. Dotton is now on my squad, guys. You'd love to see it. And, quarterback Russell Wilson. Yeah, I'm starting him this week. I now have the lovable Mr. Unlimited as my quarterback because Geno Smith is on the bye. He proceeded to give me Matt Collins, which I quickly threw him on waivers because he is a bum. And that kind of rounds up my activity. But guys, you guys did a little wheeling and dealing this week. Tell me about your little transaction you guys went after.
Yeah, I'm sitting at my desk. Maybe was that Monday, Tuesday morning, and I get a little
It was Monday.
Monday
It was
morning.
Monday. I did. Yep.
Little ring-a-ding-ding. Here's Chris Barker. What could he be calling me about? Well, first and foremost, the pleasantries of how was your vacation, which was quickly followed up by I don't care, and here's my offer. Yes. And I liked it. It's pretty much how it went down. I want a first. How about a 2-3? Perfect. Send it over. I'm driving. And that's it, man. It's how you get it done.
Chris, easy negotiations by you guys. I feel like that's a fair trade for both. How do you feel about the newly acquired assets for your squad?
You know what? Christian McCaffrey is a top 10 wide receiver in PPR this year, so had to go out and get him. And as our viewers know, I am extremely high on Tony Pollard. Have been for 2 seasons now. Still think that he can get some decent flex work in, and I need a decent flex. To go about the rest of the season. I have a couple players on bye this week. Luckily, I'm playing Tony after I just took 2 of his biggest assets from his team, so should hopefully be an easy win this week. But just funny. I love trade deadline week, especially when you're competing. I talked with Vester and said, "Hey, send over the trade proposal." Little does Tony know, and I plan on sharing this podcast. Dietrich, I think I also called you on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, during my 40 commute work into my office. I talked to Thorzelik. I talked with probably 4 or 5 league members on Monday alone, just to kind of get the gauge and see if, I was talking with Gavin. I was talking, I was exchanging text messages with Evan. Evan tried to, send me some bullshit deal. And I was like, I don't want Josh Allen, which he ended up making the trade with Trevor. So Trevor acquired Josh Allen. And, but guys, I love trade deadline week. I feel like, the first 10 weeks of the year, I think we all kind of just do our own thing. Us 3 usually talk, but it's just good to kind of connect with the league, see what they're feeling. And Reese was a tough guy. Reese was driving home from Nashville, so I actually was on the phone with him. And I said, Reese, I want Jonathan Taylor, and you get to pick. You pick either CeeDee Lamb or Jalen Waddle, and I will send you a first and a third. And this was actually after I spoke with Tony, and I said, hey, I was going to tell Tony to pound sand if Reese was all totally on board with this trade. And Reese goes, hey, give me a few hours. Let me hit the road. And I think about it. I'm like, dude, I don't have a few hours. Because I know once some domino effects happen, shit's going to hit the fan. And you either have to be first or you're going to be last and you're not going to be able to make a run. So pulled the deal off with Vester. I still think I have the best team in the league, even after all these trades. I think Arley and I have the best teams in the league, and I'm excited to make a run. I think I've got a really good team. I think I have a huge advantage in the tight end slot with Andrews questionable. Waller out. Kittle is, hit or miss on most weeks. So I think I have a huge advantage to make a serious run at this thing again.
Yeah, your team looks good. You were certainly stressing that urgency factor, at least in our phone call. You weren't willing to listen to my hopes and dreams that A.J. Brown would put up a good Monday night performance to keep me and my team alive this season. That did not pan out accordingly. But you made the change and you dealt with Mr. Vester, and it's a good win for everyone. But the aforementioned Trevor's team, it's looking really good now, guys. And he only sent a 2nd round pick, I believe, over to Evan. Now he's got himself Josh Allen in the QB slot. Amon-Ra St. Brown and T. Higgins are great wide. It's a great wide receiver duo heading into the Moose Knuckle playoffs. He's got Derrick Henry going tonight. He's already got 12.5 points. So far, so good there. Devin Singletary. Guys, if you remember last season, he put on a hell of a run in the second half of the season and was a league winner for many people in the fantasy playoffs. So Singletary's got what it takes to turn it on. And then Mark Andrews getting healthier by the week. He should be a performer for him. And now he's got Amari Cooper in the flex. So he's got a pretty good-looking squad.
Yeah, and going over to Orlik was one of the first trades that had me trade Devontae just kind of for a first. He wanted me to send a first and a third for Wilson and Devontae before he made that trade. I said, "There's no way I'm doing that," and he ended up just giving Devontae away for Jeff Wilson. I'm sorry, for I think just like a first round picks and just one, right? And so like. I texted Orlik. I was like, "Hey, thank you for setting like the trade deadline or like the value this year, like just so low, just so low." I think it helped us out. And then obviously I had to call back Orlik after I made the deal with Tony. I said, "Hey, like I want Zeke just as a handcuff situation. I hope if Zeke doesn't give me any points the rest of the year, all I gave up was an 8th round pick. So I'm okay to live with that, but." I feel like I had to make that trade in the event that something happens to Pollard.
Yeah, it was a good move. You definitely want both those guys on your squad. One can go down, and then you got a bell cow there. But it's also a good point you bring up with who makes the jump first, and then what do the subsequent trades look like in years where I go and do my Hail Mary trades, and usually I do them early and kick them off. It is a domino effect. So this year it seemed a little bit, although we got a lot of moves, it seemed a little more in the ballpark of reasonable to years past.
Tony, unfortunately, we have to bring it up, the fact that Dietrich owns 3 first-round picks next year. Fingers crossed he fucks it up, right?
I mean, how's Reese doing?
First of all, how dare you? But second of all, I'm very excited for next year, and it's our 10th year anniversary for the Moose Knuckle League. I'm coming in hot. I'm ready to turn this around. I really liked the team. Unfortunately, it didn't work out this season. Had a couple of nice assets that I got to trade away to Mr. Arway and Mr. Banka. Their teams are looking red hot to compete with the Chris Barkers of the MFFL. So they are stacked, and somebody's going to be walking with a crown on their head down that Vegas strip next year. We're about to find out who it is, because the league is definitely divided. There is a top tier, and now there's there's 6-7 teams fighting for the bottom. So who knows how it's going to shake out. Ryan Saros is still a few games back, but he kept his team pretty much intact here. So we'll see if he can scrounge up a few wins as we inch closer to the Moose Knuckle playoffs.
And I think in a couple weeks, I think Orlik is 2 games ahead of him. I think they end up facing each other towards the end of this year, so that could mean something if Saros is able to squeak out a win or two. So good for Saros for standing pat. He was trying to unload Ramondre Stevenson on anyone who was listening, calling him a league winner, which none of us bit for it.
Well, I think another important highlight here, and then we can move on, is Jalen Hurts. Gavin dealing Jalen Hurts for a 3rd-round pick. He's been kind of back and forth. He's had Jalen Hurts and Tua on his lineup throughout the week. I feel like it's a weekly mention for us that one of those 2 quarterbacks is in like the biggest bench performers. So it only seems right that he trades one of those assets away, gets some pretty nice draft capital with it, and we'll get to see what Team Skeet is going to do with Jalen Hurts on the roster going forward.
So, guys, Yahoo is projecting the final standings. They're calling Arway first, myself second, Banka third, Zach fourth, which Zach didn't make any moves, right? Gavin fifth, who only made the real move on Jalen, which he just touched, and then 2-time Blue Man squeaking in at 6, with Trevor missing the playoffs after dealing to acquire Josh Allen. So, like you said, D, I think there's only 3 teams potentially that have a shot, and I'm rooting for Banka or me, dude, because I think Banka in Vegas as a champ would just be the most fun. I think that'd be more fun than me winning if Banka was the champion in Vegas.
He certainly has what it takes. It's a great looking squad. I think he's at the top of my consensus kind of, um, the leaderboard of kind of taking it for the Moose Knuckle title. I put you easily in the top three, Chris, and yeah, Arway's at two for me in the power rankings. How do you see it, Tony? Similar?
I mean, not even biased. Justin Fields is putting up so many fantasy football points. It is like having Christian McCaffrey in the early days. It is so hard to overcome in that one position. And as long as he can stay healthy, I think he is going to win a lot of people leagues this year. I at least have him in one league, and I'm hoping this is true. So it's going to be hard to overcome that, as well as Justin Jefferson and I just traded him away. I've got PTSD, so I've lost his name in my
Pollard or Kirk?
mind. Christian Kirk, 2 top 10s right there, man, at wide receiver and a PPR. It's my boy Chris, man. He's gonna be the second two-time. Is that how you say that?
Two-time. I'll tell you what, if I do win and we do go to Vegas, I will have a Fields jersey. Tony, I may have to bum yours off you, but I will walk the strip in a Fields jersey, and you guys can make fun of me as I'm holding the trophy. And
No, you should. That's kind of required. If you end up winning the championship with Justin Fields, you got to walk the strip with a Fields jersey. And this is no slight of Fields. He has had a tremendous season. He's turned it around. He looks fantastic. He has a really tough like Moose Knuckle Championship week, Moose Knuckle Playoffs week. The Bears run into some tough opponents fantasy wise, so it's something to be mindful of. But you also have Herbert there, and we'll get into it later in the show. But I think you have a tougher decision than you think with the Sunday night game for the Chargers. I think Herbert could be a smash play this week.
I would agree. The benefit for me, the rest of the season, I have a very, very weak remaining schedule. I play Tony. I play Saros. I have a very weak remaining schedule. So I got to ride Fields as long as I can.
Derrick Henry just threw a touchdown pass to Austin Hooper. That is so disappointing.
Yeah.
Did you guys bet Derrick Henry plus 2 TDs tonight?
Did not.
I did not.
Me neither. But he caught that pass, got him down to the field, and he passes it. He's already got 1 rushing tonight. That's frustrating.
Are we back to 2021 betting Derrick Henry 2 tutties?
It's been working for Chris.
All right, guys. Let's move away from the MFFL into the NFFL and into some sad news. That is the injury report. And speaking of top wide receivers, one of those receivers is now headed to the IR. Cooper Kupp is now out. Do we know the extent of that injury? How long we're expecting? I know he went into surgery for a high ankle sprain.
I think it's going to be, I think I saw 6 to 8 weeks. I mean, he's toast in terms of fantasy performance. And guys, who is going to step up? I know we saw some big dollars go Van Jefferson's way. Ben Skoranek, he's currently on Jake's team, I believe, stashed away on his bench. Who's going to be the playmaker? Don't even say Allen Robinson, because we all know that that's just going to hurt somebody's feelings when they try to start him and they get about 4.5 points on the week. So who's going to be the playmaker that steps up, or is this just going to be Tyler Higbee grabbing all the fantasy points?
That's who it's been, right? It's Higbee. I mean, and he should be coming off of concussion protocol, Stafford. So who knows? Maybe he got some the nuts knocked loose again, and he's all right, and he can actually throw the ball again. Man, let's see. No opinions, Chris. All right, we will move on.
Nothing on this. Nothing on this. The Rams are just such a disappointment. I feel bad for Aaron Donald. He was going to retire. He comes back to this. McVay was going to go to the booth. He comes back to this. Stafford gets injured. I think Van Jefferson could be that outlet because Allen Robinson's going to get some potentially opportunities, and I just don't think he's going to capitalize on them.
Also moving on, another guy to the IR, Khalil Herbert, to the
Yeah,
IR with a
this
hip
is big.
injury. Yeah, not great. This could potentially impact some fields, maybe on the positive, maybe in the negative. We'll have to see if he has to run more to keep this offensive alive. But it's great having those fresh legs there in Chicago, always moving that ball, and great change it down back.
Well said, Tone. This guy was the more dominant, effective running back in that Chicago offense. He was looking fierce, and David Montgomery he's a free agent next year. Am I right? So this was kind of
Yep.
the you really wanted to see it from Herbert. It's a shame that he goes down, but those with stock of David Montgomery going into the fantasy playoffs, could be some opportunity for some major points there.
I guess the good thing for us is that Orlick owns Montgomery, so there's no chance of ever facing Montgomery in the playoffs. With that being said, this is a huge hit to the Chicago Bears rushing attack, which is number one in the league. Like you said, great change of pace back. It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully it's positive for Fields, though.
And in the positive, Wentz could come off of IR, or could play this week. But with Taylor Heineke taking out, who was it? Dallas Cowboys last week? Was it the Bills? Who did they take out?
It was the Eagles,
Oh,
man. They took off the undefeated Eagles.
oh my God! The only remaining defeated team in the league, and quickly took to a United Airlines flight and was balling out with all the defensive chains in a Busch Light. How can you not start that guy next week?
It's so funny, Tone, because the image that you put in the show doc looks exactly like that. Like they got this man flying coach. He's like in a Spirit Airlines kind of situation where he's got no leg room. You would think the Washington Commanders could get a little bit nicer team jet here to head home, especially after that undefeated, going against the undefeated Eagles and grabbing that win. But the image is perfect. He's sipping a nice cold Busch Light. He has every chain on from the defensive line. He looks spectacular. And yeah, you're not going to get rid of Taylor Heineke. And this guy's going to start. This is Wentz's ability to come off IR with that 4-week stint. I still don't think he's ready. And why would you go to him right now? Heineke has played 4 games, I believe, with Washington and has won 3 of 4. He looks great. He's moving the ball for the down the field for Washington, and he's awakened Terry McLaurin. So you're getting fantasy performance out of Terry McLaurin, which was essentially non-existent in the beginning of the season. So I think this is a win. Keep cracking the Heinekes, and Taylor Heineke is kind of like a nice quarterback 2 kind of like stream kind of QB filler for bye weeks. I think you can rely on him in certain weeks.
Love it. Moving on to other injury weeks for the week 11, we see Josh Allen with an elbow, limited participant. Aaron Rodgers had a thumb, but we are watching that man sling some balls as we speak.
Yep,
Derek
he's got a bye
Carr,
week coming up, so hopefully that thumb injury can improve. Because he's been getting that thing wrapped each and every week, and there's a little bit taken off of each ball that he throws, but he's still out there. He's playing. He's a grinder. But hopefully the bye week will get him right again.
It's a cold one up there, so he's icing it up in Green Bay this week. Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill also round out the quarterback list. And here we go at the top of the list. Derrick Henry, running back, not injury related, but was a full participant and is 2 touchdowns deep in this game. Sorry to say that so loud, man. Jamal Williams out with an illness, did not participate. Hopefully he gets back. Antonio Gibson, what does it matter? He's not the guy there anymore. Najee Harris. Pittsburgh for personal reasons. Montgomery was out this week, so that's not great. Maybe Fields will be the only one running there. DeAndre Swift, he was there last week, still dealing with an ankle, should be there this week. Ezekiel Elliott with the knee, limited participant, so we're expecting Zeke to be back out there again. You think?
Yeah, I think as long as Jerry Jones is at the helm in there, he's always going to be giving his boy Zeke Elliott some play time. So I feel like he makes Mike McCarthy etch out a third of the playbook, like the little sheet that McCarthy holds. They got this little section called Zeke's Corner, and they got to make sure that they go to at least a dozen plays for Zeke. Sorry, Chris.
Hey, listen, I think in reality, I think there could be a 2-back system, and I think both of them could be fantasy relevant. You got to utilize Pollard in the passing game more for the receptions wise, and if Zeke can get you 10 carries at 40 yards with a touchdown in my flex, I think that's great. He won't make it, but I'm going to ride this Pollard train as long as I can.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was McCarthy or the offensive coordinator there, Kellen Moore, that said, "Oh, you can't give Pollard too much work because then he starts to trail off a little bit," and that's what
I saw that.
Yeah,
They have like a cap on them, and I don't know what the exact number is, Chris, but I feel like they said something like it's like 15 touches or something, and they're like, "Well, I got to pump the brakes on Pollard." It's like all of a sudden at like carry 16, he turns into a pumpkin or something.
Hey, if that's 8 carries and then 7 targets and he catches 6 of them, I'm good.
Guys, Christian Watson just scored another touchdown. He's the next Devontae Adams. Book it.
God, I knew I should have pissed my wad against him. Screw you, Evan.
Hey, there's still 2 days left in the trade deadline.
Nice.
Oh, man,
nice.
Excellent crossing route by Christian Watson was wide fucking open.
You can still piss more.
God, this guy is just...
That was beautiful.
I don't know.
They're clicking, man. When Rodgers clicking with a wide receiver, man, it's just lights out.
Yeah, they're on the same page, and Watson's got breakaway speed. So it's you got to have a guy over the top for Christian Watson because he's just got what it takes to turn on the freaking Jets and blow past the DB, and he did so right there in that crossing route. Packers going for 2 right now, probably going to whiff on it, but let's run through it. AJ Dillon running out to the slot. That's never a good thing. A little shifty pass to Aaron Jones. He squeaks it in for 2. There we go.
I was hoping he was going to miss it because I was still going to live bet the Packers to win this. But the odds are just not going to be as great now.
It's back within 3 with a couple minutes to go in the third quarter here. But when everybody listens to this game is going to be far from over. So.
Yeah. Oh, the suspense. Man, it's going to be a good game. Week 13 at home. The Bears will be at home versus the Packers, man. It's going to be a lot different game than week 2. I'm interested to watch that game.
Yeah, this is everybody's making comparisons already for the Packers in that 2016 season, the famous run the table quote when they started 4-6, just like they are, and made their way into the NFC Championship game. So we'll see if Rodgers can continue on this good trend that we saw coming out of that win from Dallas. And a lot of good things have to happen because the NFC wildcard hunt, it's tough. I mean, the Giants are sitting there right now, and the Giants are what? They've only lost 3 games. Yeah, or 7-2. Yeah, they're 2-3 games. So they look great. 49ers are in that mix too. So it's tough. So you gotta score a couple more wins to be able to get in that wild card spot because I don't think there's any catching the Vikings right now.
Yeah, I had money on Vikings not winning last week, and that didn't turn out very well. But not only is my ego and my wallet hurt, but so are these tight ends: Mark Andrews, Gerald Everett, and Cole Kmet. Oh, and David Njoku as well. The only one that did not participate was Cole Kmet with a thigh injury this week. So something to keep an eye on there.
And Cole Kmet is that guy. The last 2 weeks, he's gotten 2 touchdowns each of the last games, 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Again, if you look back, I think Saros drafted both Kmet as well as Fields this year. And if he just held on to them both just for a little longer, he would not be Sacco. We would have an Orzlick Sacco.
Very true.
Easier said than done, though, because both of those guys were complete bums early in the season. It would be completely irresponsible to be starting them for that long a time because they were just developing no fantasy production whatsoever. And how things have changed. The playbook looks way different in Chicago. They're running the ball up and down the field. Tony, we already went through waivers, but you picked up Marcus Mariota. I think that's a great call just because I think there's going to be, Bears defense isn't great. Justin Fields is scoring points. Mariota's going to have to keep up. And I think there's plenty of points to be had there, and for a spot start like Mariota.
As a Chicagoan, I'm very excited for the Bears next year. I think they've got a great foundation with Kmetz. I'm excited to see Claypool get an offseason under the Bears. $100 million in cap, a top 10 pick. Exciting times for the Bears fans. And Packers are in the downward spiral. So,
what do you think they're going to do at the running back position, Tony? Because they're probably not going to re-sign Montgomery, but I feel like they would grab a wily veteran to kind of back up Herbert.
Yeah, I don't think Montgomery's going to be there again. And unfortunately, like we saw Montgomery kind of surge. We usually have some pretty good backfield, and Khalil Herbert is that. But who will that be if Khalil Herbert steps up? Usually, we develop some pretty good talent there. So I would lean on that, but that's some different regimes. I don't think we're going to spend draft capital for that. That might be something we fill with. Cap space in the season, like you said, Matt. Agreed.
Kudos to the NFC North. I feel like there's one thing they know what to do, and it's pick great foundational running backs. I feel like the entire NFC North gets it right. Aaron Jones, 5th round pick. I mean, they find gold in whether it's late in the draft or acquiring pieces like Jamal Williams from the Green Bay Packers, now starting for the Lions, looks great. In the absence of DeAndre Swift, he fills in quite nicely for him. So obviously Dalvin Cook's been doing his thing in Minnesota for a few years now. So good performance all around at the running back position in our black and blue division that you got to have a strong run game.
Tony, I disagree with you on that. I think Bears could draft a running back in like the 3rd or 4th round next year. They got $100 million in cap. Throw it all in the defense. 1st round pick, either grab the offensive tackle out of Northwestern or a top wide receiver and piss away the money on defense, and then snag a young running back in the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah, I could see that, especially because of the timeline of a running back, right? You only have a few years. You draft them, and you get to run them down for a couple years, and then they're out of the league. Unfortunately, that's just the way of the position. So, but Chris, I don't think we're going to be spitting that top 10 pick on a running back.
I just pulled up the 2023 running back free agents. Chris, can I sign you up for free agent Tony Pollard getting on the Chicago Bears?
See, oh, man.
You know who else is a free agent? Josh Jacobs. We got Saquon Barkley. We got Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt, Jeff Wilson.
Kareem Hunt is leaving for sure.
Kareem Hunt is leaving for sure. Who's younger, Hunt or Pollard? Anyone know that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna lean Pollard on that.
The Bears have the cap space. Could they make a run at Barkley and just go like RPO Barkley and Fields all day?
Dude.
That's sexy.
Kareem Hunt is 27 and Tony Pollard is 25.
I like Pollard too. Not a lot of miles on the legs. Can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's a good double-headed monster there. But if Barkley finishes the season healthy, knock on wood, I love that for the Bears. I don't know why, but I really do.
Giants were trying to re-sign him. It was either a week or 2 weeks ago, and he ripped off a couple of good games. I feel like he took a look at the schedule and was like, no, I'm not ready to sign quite yet. Let me just go beast mode for a couple of weeks so I can kind of bump up my paycheck numbers a little bit. So I bet you New York kind of breaks the checkbook out and signs him again. But another interesting name that I'm now noticing on the list, Damian Harris from the New England Patriots. I feel like that's another nice fit for Chicago.
Yeah. He can catch balls too. Very versatile back. I mean, with everyone named, though, I would love to see Monty back. And it just depends on the price. That man knows the scheme, and he runs hard, and we're getting it done with him. So, first and foremost, we sign that man. If not, I guess I'll settle for Saquon Barkley or Tony Pollard.
Oh, I think both of those are better options than Montgomery.
And I think you get into Josh Jacobs. That's kind of Montgomery style, but maybe I put Kareem Hunt as a bump above that.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
Speaking of Josh Jacobs, we were having this discussion in the office. Obviously, did you guys see that article about the Raiders that came out, how they cannot fire Josh McDaniels because they are a cash poor franchise right now?
No.
No.
All right, so they're stating that they're a cash poor franchise and they can't fire McDaniels, and he's going to be here for this season as well as next season because cash flow issues.
They're still paying Gruden.
Because you're still paying Gruden, right? And I think like the stadium issues and everything, relocating. So, Devontae may be a 1-year wonder in the Raiders because the Raiders are not going to make the playoffs. They're going to get a high draft pick. They could, draft a young quarterback to get Carr out of there. Devontae would not want to be part of a rebuild. Chicago's got a first-round pick and would need a wide receiver. Tony.
Interesting.
First-round pick for Devontae straight up to get him on the Bears. They have the cap space as well.
If anything has been proven, it's that this year with Devontae in Las Vegas is that he's the talent that Aaron Rodgers, he's separate of Aaron. He is talented and can work with any quarterback. And I think having the speedster like him and then the tall man like Claypool and Kmet, I mean, Claypool's opened up a lot for Kmet too. And you still have who's our little guy there? Man, my names are just fucking terrible today.
The Bears have a midget on the team?
Well, they got a little Dante Pettis. They got Equinemius in.
No, who was our number one before Claypool came in?
Mooney?
Mm-hmm. Mooney. And I mean, those are your top 4 targets?
That's a Chiefs-like offense.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah,
I'm just saying. I think the Bears could shop that number 1 overall pick for a wide receiver like a Devontae who could potentially be available. That's all I'm saying.
I'd love that.
We'll see what comes of it. Plenty of time for the Bears to fuck it up along the way, so we'll see. We'll see how things shake out. Guys, let's move into locks of the week. Tony, who you got this week?
All right, we'll skip wide receiver entries and go right into Kansas City at Los Angeles Chargers. They are giving 5 points, and I think they'll cover that easily. I think Kansas City is surging right now, and Chargers have a lot of injury worries. We don't know. Hopefully, Everett and Williams come back this week. We'll see. Keenan Allen, probably also a long shot. But if not, I mean, Kansas City's going to run all over him.
Man, I don't know. I might be going a different way as we cover this game later tonight, but I like it. I like your balls of steel right now. Picking KC, but I'll jump into my lock of the week. I am taking the Buffalo Bills. They are playing Cleveland Browns. I jumped in the showdown kind of early on this one. I was saying before the news broke earlier today, watch the weather report as this game was going to be an absolute snowstorm in Buffalo. I mean, there was talk of 3 feet of snow all the way up to 6 feet. It was going to be that ugly out there. So I was like, hey, just watch the weather report before you take Buffalo minus 7.5. And the over-under was at 41 or 41.5, just based on the weather conditions. Well, now the game has officially moved to Ford Field in Detroit due to the snowstorm. And because of that, the line is now Bills minus 8.5, and the over-under jumped to 49.5. So a pretty big swing. And I will still take Buffalo at the minus 8.5. Chris, who you got?
God, can you imagine if you pounded that over a couple days ago just in Buffalo just to be a jackass, and then they moved the stadium to a dome, and you're just licking your chops right now at an 8-point swing? Yeah, you're just fist pumping.
I saw the weather coming, and I pounded the under. I'm fucked.
Oh, baby. Good thing that wasn't your lock this week. Guys, we witnessed probably the game of the year last week with 8-1 Vikings at the time, and then going to Buffalo. Game of the year. Justin Jefferson made the greatest catch of the year as well.
Greatest catch I've ever seen.
Arguably, right? So Josh Allen, all he needed to do really was to just take a knee in that end zone, take the safety and kick it, and maybe you would have had a chance to win playing Monday night quarterback here. But Vikings are at home against the Cowboys. Cowboys beat the Packers in Lambeau last week. I don't know how Vikings are getting 1.5 at home, but I will not only take the 1.5, I will take the Vikings outright because I do think they are for real. And then I will dive into the bold predictions, guys. These two have been arch nemesis forever. Patriots are coming off a bye, and I'm sure we'll see the stat. I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but Bill Belichick is undefeated after every single bye week is probably the stat. No joke. Fuck that. Jets are for real. Jets, Jets, going to Foxborough. 3.5. Take the points.
Well, when I went to go do my bold prediction, I scrolled down. I was like, oh, where's the Jets? And sure enough, Chris had already taken this bold prediction. They are underdogs, and I agree. Always bet Jets. Well, guess what? These guys are underdogs, and I couldn't believe it during scrolling. Los Angeles Rams at New Orleans without Cooper Kupp are now underdogs. I mean, there's a lot of other pieces there in that Rams offense that can easily overtake the Andy Dalton led New Orleans. Is that still who's chugging a football down there? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I guess. Well, so I will take Los Angeles Rams plus 3.5.
All right, good pick, Tone. I like that one a lot. Guys, I don't know how you forced me into this corner, but I am riding the Chicago Bears this week as my bold prediction. I am taking the Bears plus 3. I did a little research on the old interwebs and found out that Justin Fields is a Georgia native. I had no idea. So he will love this homecoming game against another defense that will let him run free, throw deep. He's on the fast track in Atlanta here. So Falcons are turning the corner from competitive to an absolute free fall. So they don't have the weapons to take advantage of Chicago's weak defense. So give me the Bears. Give me the Bears, and let's call it like 31-23. I think there's some points to be had, like we talked about at the top of the show. So start your Mariotas, start your Justin Fields accordingly.
All right, at minute 42, he says, give me the Bears. Got to take that.
Dietrich, what would you bet the over-under for – it's not out yet, obviously, on Thursday night, but Justin Fields rushing yards. What do you think that over-under is going to look like? Because Saros is going to, bet that he rushes for 100 yards for again, but what's your prediction?
Oh, man, for this Atlanta game? Shoot, I don't know what they're going to put it at. I bet you they put it at something kind of mouth-watering to make people jump on it, like low to mid 80s, and see if people jump on, because it might just be a game that they don't think is gonna be a points bonanza. But I think the opposite, and I think Justin Fields is going to run on this one. But like I said before, he's got matchups that are coming up that it might just start get kind of predictable, where folks will be planning to have that spy kind of permanently on Fields, where he's not going to be able to run it like he has in weeks past.
I don't think a spy matters. I think he's just faster than everyone else. So if he has a little bit of space, I think he's going to exploit it.
He's been able to keep just plays alive. He's passing opportunities alive, and that I can't believe how he's just getting people to miss tackles. And that was a good call out on the 80s, because Washington in week 6 and New England week 7, he was about 88 and 82, dipped down to 60 against Dallas, but then he went off of that 178 and 147 the last 2 weeks. So I could see Vegas hitting like the 80 or 90. But would you take the over then?
Yeah, I think so. I think you got to bet it. I mean, there's a dozen to 15, 16, 18 plays that are dedicated to Fields running the ball. And I don't think Eberflus is going to change that this week. So I think he's got an opportunity. Take the over.
Herbert's out too. Yeah, we'll have to see, man.
Sunday Night Football, guys. Chiefs at Chargers. Chargers getting 5.5, over under 50.5. Vester, start it off, brother.
Man, you already know where I am here. Kadarius Toney. Start your Kadarius Tonys now. He's the man. Would he get almost 20 points in his debut as a Kansas City Chief? They know what they have. Andy Reid knows how to play this guy, and that's just one of the many names I can name there. Drop your Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That story's passed, by the way.
It has, yeah. Isaiah Pacheco, 7th-round pick out of Rutgers, has certainly supplanted 2020 first-round pick Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So he's atop of the Kansas City depth chart now. I guess why I thought your KC pick was interesting, Tone, was Juju Smith-Schuster still in the concussion protocol, and Mecole Hardman was placed on IR. He is dealing with an abdominal injury, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling missed practice all week with an illness. He's probably going to start, but maybe you have to, temper your expectations. And meanwhile, on the Chargers side of the ball, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were both spotted back at practice this week, and what's there to say about Austin Eckler? Had a little bit of a shaky start, but now he's everything you want him to be. Number 1 overall running back in PPR formats. He had a touchdown streak going for 5 straight games. That ended last week against San Fran. He probably gets back at it in this one. So I am going to take the Chargers plus 5.5. And Chris, are you continuing to bench Justin Herbert?
Yeah, I have to bench Herbert at least until Justin Fields gets me below 25 points. He's a lock for me. Interesting stat on Eckler I read this week. If you took away all of his rushing attempts, including his yards and his his rushing attempts and his rushing yards, touchdowns, and you only look at the receiving stuff, he's still a top 15 running back. So he's having a great year. I have to call out Evan Bierman as well, because obviously he sent me like some dog shit proposal, right? He wanted me to send him a first round pick for Allen, Amari Cooper, and Odell Beckham Jr. And I was like, hey man, I don't need Cooper, I don't need Allen. This is I told him it was a dog shit trade. So then he goes and makes the trade with Trevor. And I was like, hey man, that was kind of a totally different trade than what, we talked about. I would have been interested in Cardarius. He's like, really? Is he that big of a needle mover? And I was like, yeah. Juju's in concussion. Hardman is, on IR. And they just announced that he's going to be returning kicks. Yes. He is the Tyreek Hill of this offense moving forward into the playoffs, and you just gave him to Trevor. So, I had to call out Evan there, but I will take the Chiefs to cover. The Chargers have just been meh this year, and the Chiefs are the real deal.
Yeah, well said, Chris. I was watching the podcast that Travis Kelce and his brother do, and Travis was hyping up Kadarius Toney in a big way, saying that they just stole him. Can't believe they got him on the squad. Hey man, we've talked about it on this podcast before, so this isn't news to anyone here. But we're all big fans of Kadarius Toney and his work. When he stays healthy, he is absolutely electric on the playing field.
It makes you think, what the hell is going on in New York? Because they obviously need a wide receiver. He was on their roster. Now he goes to an awesome environment. You have Kenny Golladay, who has not been great for them. But if Kenny Golladay goes and he goes to another team, is he going to resurrect his career like he was good in Detroit? Giants wide receivers are just not great. But again, Odell Beckham is maybe looking to sign with them, or the Cowboys.
Yeah, I guess if a quarterback's got a type, Aaron and Daniel Jones got a type, And it doesn't have to be a big flashy guy with talent. I guess Devontae Adams and Christian Watson, they got talent, but Darius Slayton in New York, right? That's the guy.
Hey, that's my wide receiver this week that I started. So that tells you a lot right there. Guys, one more game to cover for us. This is the Monday night preview. The 49ers and Cardinals meet in Mexico City on Monday night in a showdown between division rivals. FanDuel has got it at 49ers minus 8.5 with an over-under at 43.5. Guys, what do you like in this one? The Cardinals got a badly needed 27-17 win over the Rams last weekend with backup quarterback Colt McCoy under center. Kyler Murray missed the game because of Warzone 2.0 double XP weekend. I mean, a sore hamstring. It was a sore hamstring. Murray hopes to be available Monday for a game that is crucial for staying alive in the playoff race. Um, other players to highlight for me is wide receiver Rondale Moore, definitely emerging as a reliable kind of second option next to DeAndre Hopkins in that offense. He got 9 passes for 94 yards against the Rams, so he seems to be heating up a little bit. How do you guys see this one playing out?
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but this stadium in Mexico, it's pretty high elevation, right? So it's almost like a game in Denver. So
Yeah, and I think to that point, Tony, I think the 49ers went to Colorado to prep for this game, and that's where they've been all week practicing. So maybe a little bit of an added advantage there because I think Cliff Kingsbury said in an interview that they were sticking to their regular practice facility and business as usual. So maybe there's something to that, getting acclimated to being in the elevation there.
yeah, maybe they just think we're in Arizona. It's kind of like Mexico. I don't know. But I 8.5 is a pretty big spread, but definitely Arizona has had their problems, and I think San Francisco can cover this. You know, they've added the weapons they have there. Christian McCaffrey, you were obviously able to get some pretty good capital back for him, and he's going to continue to get adjusted to this new team. But the issues that Arizona has had have eased in the return of DeAndre Hopkins, also opening up things for Rondale Moore. Zach Ertz obviously gone now. That hurts, but getting that talent back helps. This is a hard one. I like where Vegas put it. It makes you think, but I'm probably going to lean San Fran.
I think so too, Tone. I'm a little excited to see the emergence of Trey McBride. You know, what was that, third round pick, tight end for Arizona? See what he can do in the absence of Zach Ertz. It hurts to have no Ertz. I had to do it, dad joke. But it seems like Trey McBride could be something. So we'll see. We'll see if he gets any attention this week. Um, so I'm going to take San Fran -8.5. Chris, where are you going with this one?
I don't like that this is in Mexico City, so I am going to go with the Cardinals because they are closer to the border. I think their fans are going to travel well. And give me the 8.5. I know 49ers could arguably be one of the most sneaky teams in the NFC. But again, just I don't know how I feel about a Mexico City game. So give me the state that is closest to the beautiful country of Mexico.
There you have it. And to your point earlier about Christian McCaffrey, Tone, I mean, um, he didn't have his best performance last week, but running back Elijah Mitchell came back and they gave him a ton of playing time and looked pretty good when he got his opportunities to carry the rock. So could be a really nice two-headed monster for San Fran going forward.
That's very surprising to see. They definitely were back and forth, absolutely. And the man can ball. He ran that ball. So
He can, and it goes to show that they're taking this seriously about being in kind of a wild card presence and pushing to the playoffs, wanting to keep Christian McCaffrey at 100% as they kind of make their way through. And having Elijah Mitchell as that kind of 1A, 1B kind of setup, I think is going to work well for San Fran in the weeks to come.
traditionally, San Fran's had to keep 3 or 4 running backs on the roster because they run through them. So hey,
Yeah,
man, keep them healthy.
right. They've always had a bit of a rotation, and I don't think people expected it with the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey, but we saw it, and Mitchell, yeah, made the most of his playing time.
You swiping left or right, Chris?
I'm not doing anything. I'm trying to. I'm still like my Amazon is so delayed. Like I literally just saw that Packer interception, so I'm like, is he taking it back? And like I don't know if you guys are watching it now, but like Tannehill just made a sick little tackle.
Did
Yeah,
he?
So, Titans are up 10. We got a little Wayne concert coming after the game, D. Is that correct?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case, but
Get your purple drink ready.
before before we cover Little Wayne performances, guys, aren't you guys playing each other this week? Can I get a little bit of breakdown of this?
I don't know, Tony. You want to break this down?
If I broke down, you mean my team? Sure.
Broke down, bitch, Tony.
I will be starting the acquired Jacoby Myers from New England from Chris. No, will not be starting the quickly dropped Treylon Burks this week. But
Tony doesn't even know who he acquired in the trade. Treylon Burks.
I got a question for you. Should I start Gerald Everett or the Dulcich, who missed a couple of passes last week, but is getting highly targeted on that Denver offense?
Everett.
So
yeah,
Dulcich is.
Well, I think I lean towards Everett too. I like Everett. I like that matchup. He was questionable earlier in the week, though, was he not?
Yeah, he still is.
Okay, something to monitor there, but I'm a big Gerald Everett guy. I think I've touched on that kind of earlier in the season. But it looks like he was limited in practice with a groin. My groin.
I also acquired Baltimore for $10 this week, which I know we didn't cover under the Fab section. And I outbid another individual, Gavin, who had $10. But since I suck, I had a better waiver priority. A lot of hot takes on that Baltimore team.
I also had a waiver claim for free on Baltimore, so I had to make a move for a defense today. So $10 is a little steep, I thought, for a defense, especially for a team that's not really competing. But I digress.
I disagree. I think that's money well spent. They are playing Carolina, and I'm pretty sure Sam Darnold is starting, so that is worth the $10 right there.
I think the line is 13.5. And because I got a guy at work who is taking he's taking the 13.5, and he thinks that the Panthers are going to cover.
Yikes!
Let me tell you the rest of their schedule. At Jacksonville, not great, but then Denver, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Pittsburgh.
Tony, you don't have to tell me. I thought I was trying to be sneaky and just going to stash them on my bench for the playoffs, but you got them.
There's 2 more days to trade it, by the way. I think I said that
right. I am done. I am going to enjoy my weekend and not have to worry about doing fantasy football trades. I'm content.
But anyways, you want to hear any more about my dog shit team?
That about covers it, I think. No, I'm right there with you, Tony. I'm going against Gavin. He's been a bit of a powerhouse in prior weeks. He is 7-3. Right now, Yahoo is teasing me with saying that the projections are within like a few points of each other. That is a joke. He actually started Ryan Tannehill against me tonight, and Tannehill's got himself 21.5 points. So that's looking good so far. Tannehill's threw 2 passing touchdowns. He's thrown a pick. Rodgers just threw a terrible ball in the middle of the field, not even close to Sammy Watkins. I'm having to start there. Darius Slayton, like we talked about. Deontay Foreman, Jamal Williams, Pat Freiermuth. These are all kind of unsexy names that have kind of, they're the, as Chris would call it, or as our favorite broadcaster would call it, the hard hat and lunch pail kind of guys. There's nothing sexy about them, but they show up to work and, sometimes produce some points. Sometimes I'm, the lowest scoring team of the week. So we'll see what happens. I don't have high expectations. I know that.
And to be fair, I think Sammy Watkins could have caught that ball. I think he slowed down. He was wide open in space. Rodgers did not look happy there.
You're right, but we're also talking about Sammy Watkins. He hasn't been able to catch a ball for the last couple of years, and I don't know what Green Bay was thinking trying to sign him and expect something otherwise.
Let me ask you, would you rather have AJ Green or Sammy Watkins right now?
AJ Green.
You can't make me make this decision. It's terrible. It's terrible, Tony. This is what nightmares are made of.
Well, boys, as we head into the night of this podcast, will you be continuing this Green Bay Packer journey or joining me in Call of Duty, Dietrich?
Can I have both?
Oh, yeah, I love to hear it. Chris, when are you downloading the new Warzone so that we can affect Kyler Murray's fantasy football output?
I'll cut you a deal. I will download Call of Duty once my fantasy season becomes irrelevant. And it is not yet.
Okay, if I win this week, does it become irrelevant? I have 2 days left to trade.
To be fair, if you win this week, I'll download this stupid game next week. But my team is still relevant. But I mean, Tony, Yahoo's calling it a 77% chance of victory. I'm really stoked. I think I'm second projected highest points for the week, and I've got Van Jefferson as my wide receiver too, and I'm rolling with Zeke in the flex. So Ken Walker the third, as well as Christian Kirk on the bench with their bye week. So as long as I stay healthy, I think I got a shot to make a run at this thing. So really excited.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, my guy.
Yeah.
Good luck, Tony.
Thanks, bud. Hey, man, you got any more of them wide receivers, Dietrich?
It's slim pickings over here, man. I don't know how much I can help.
All right, boys.
All right. I think that'll do it for us over here at the Moose Knuckle Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We greatly appreciate you. Whatever platform you're listening or watching us on, please give us a like, a subscribe, a thumbs up, a follow, whatever that button says. Just hit it. It goes a long way. Feed the algorithm. And we love your faces. Good luck in your matchups this week. Do better than the Packers. Peace out.
Peace.
Bye for now.
I am riding the Chicago Bears this week. Give me the Bears. Give me the Bears.